Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network, here where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live, right in front of your eyes. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. I just realized that I do not have any tea today, but that's it.
Oh, no.
We will see
How
about
will
that.
this go?
Yeah. And you, Jan, how are you?
I'm great as well. I've been playing some games with my friends online, but physically, it's a mismatch. It's very fun. Paper cards online, yeah.
Right.
So today we're in the middle of these 30 Lexic-o-days, which is a themed month. And I think it's Wikimedia Deutschland who's setting up a theme to sort of promote Lexemes and lexicographical data. So we're going to take a look at that. What specifically will you be looking at, Albin?
I will be taking a look about the origins of word and how we model that in Wikidata, and also doing a bit of querying on that. And actually, for me, like this Lexemes Day or my way of, I'm not sure if they thought of me when they did it, but it really forces me to actually put the time into and learn Lexemes. So I will be doing a lot of things from scratch, and we will take a look at a bit of origins of word, and we will kind of track them back. So we will have a bit of a look on Old Norse Lexemes.
Mm-hmm.
So hoping to find interesting things.
All right.
And
Very
you?
cool. I'm just going to do some basic editing. First, show
Right.
you a little bit about how it looks like and try to add a word or two and things that goes on it. And of course, if you're watching this, feel free to ask questions. We'll try to be quite basic today, but I know sometimes I just get caught up and might be a little bit too quick. So please ask us questions if there's something we're skipping through or if we're just not explaining well. So with that, should I try to start? And we have Leah here saying hello. Hello. I'll see, do I share my screen like that? Yes, so here we are on Wikidata. And I'm just going to try to find a Lexeme. I have one. Oh, we have plenty of people. We have my here, and we have Nomi here as well. So I'm just first going to start showing you a word that's already exists that is fairly well modeled. Nothing special. It's not like a showcase Lexeme or something like that, but there are a few basic things. And one of the things that you will notice is Lexemes is a separate namespace on Wikidata. And we have Nicholas hello as well. Hello.
Hello.
So that means that if you're going to try to search for something and you just, like if we're writing something here, it's going to autocomplete for the main namespace. So if you want the Lexeme, you'll add a L colon before, but it doesn't really autocomplete yet. So you can press enter and it will do a search at least. And now we see here we have a Swedish noun for climate, klimat. So I'm going to show you that one. And from the top here, we can see something sort of similar to what we have on regular items, like it's sort of a label. But this one is a little bit special because we don't have this in many languages as we do in them. Instead, it says underneath that it is in Swedish. So language Swedish, and this is a noun, the lexical category. I'm not a linguist, so I stick to basic things like nouns and verbs. So we'll see where we get to today. I'll probably stick to nouns today. Maybe we can find a verb. And then we have statements, just like in Wikidata proper or in the main namespace. So it says described by source, and this is thesaurus, or yes, grammatical gender, neuter. And then we have some interesting things that are not used on other items. And this is sort of usage example, which should put this into context, the word. And we have two different ones here, and you can see they demonstrate various forms. And what is forms then? So if we scroll down a little bit, I'm going to skip senses for now. We see the word with various grammatical features, which means are they declined or inclined in various ways. All the ways you can have it. And for a regular noun in Swedish, if they're the regular ones, we have 8 forms, so it's not too hard to actually do these. And then in the middle of this, we have something called senses. And it sort of, what does this word mean? And first we have it like just as a text string. And this can actually be in many languages. So I could edit here, and I could add. Now I cannot add another explanation in Swedish, but I could add something in English here. So if I add it in English, I can also see here, because there's also a translation, so I can just copy this. Statistics of weather over long periods. And of course, these should be, they don't need to be word by word literal translation, but they should mean the same thing in any word there. And I'll just press publish that. And that will make it easier for other people to understand what is this Lexine, if we have them. And then we have a very nifty thing here. Something that I try to add as much as I can. And it's the way we're connecting the Lexeme to a Wikidata item. So it's through the property item for the sense. And then we also, and now if I click through here, we'll see that this is, come on. This is the regular climate item on Wikidata. And now we see here also there's some pronunciation audio in German and Santali. So maybe we'll get back to that. But at least that's sort of the way it connects with the main namespace. And then this translation connects to the Lexeme that means the same thing in another language. And for now, we have this property, and it's being a little bit used, but I'm not sure if we're all like in 100% in on it yet, because if we for everyone should have everyone, we're sort of back to the old interwiki links system that we had in early Wikipedia, or early, that's not that far away, but that's sort of what sparked Wikidata, one of the things. So this is just having this one, and because from that you could possibly find the other one as well. It seems like a more sustainable way to do it, but for now we're sort of having both in here. So we'll see if this one will stay. And I think that's sort of the basics of it. So we have 3 different parts of, or 4. We have the header, as we did before. We have the main section with statements, and then the 2 new ones is the sense, which is what it means, and then we have the forms, which is the forms the Lexeme can take. So let's try to add a new one, or should we try to add something to this? This one already had an ID here. So we can see here the usage example only have 2 of the 8 forms. So we could try to find another example to add, which would be pretty nice. So let's take one like this one. or maybe go with this one. It's more probably more easy to find because it's singular. We don't have so often many climates. I'll go to the Swedish Parliament website, mostly because we already have many of these things as items in Wikidata, so I can make a really nice reference to it.
And it's in the public domain as well.
It's in the public domain as well. And now we see that their search is giving me too many hits. Unfortunately, their documentation say that if I add this, it should narrow it down. And as you can see, it doesn't really. So we'll see. I don't think it even changed a bit here. So it does some kind of stemming against my will. But I guess this one starts out nice. And for the examples, I try to find examples that are not too complicated with other things, but rather like trying to put forward this form in a simple way.
Right.
So you don't have to go too far in it. So let's check out this motion to the Parliament. Can I find it? No, it's a large document opening a new page. And then I'll just do a search in this page for that form. So this is an opinion. I might not agree with that one, but it's very easy to understand in Swedish what it means. Not for you, of course, then, but it's a simple thing here. It's not important what it is. The important thing is that it had a new form. So
right.
On this usage example, I'm going to add a new value. And I'll just paste the entire sentence. You could go shorter than sentences, but usually we try to stick to a full sentence. You could also abbreviate them in some ways, but it's not very common. And it makes it easier for the reader if they don't have to imagine the rest of it, but if they can get a full sentence to see. I'll add SV for Swedish here, and then I'm going to add a few qualifiers then. So the important part here is which is the form it demonstrates. So we'll add that qualifier. Oh, and I just added a gadget. I should really bring this up. I'll do it later because I didn't prepare it. But user Nikki has a really nice user script, which ordinarily in the Lexime namespace, we don't have the property suggester. But with this, I get this. So this is very nice. So I can just pick demonstrates form
Indeed.
here.
As a first-time editor of Lexemes, it would have been very helpful.
Yes, it's super helpful. And here is the tricky part then. So demonstrates form. I cannot just write, I believe. Oh, I could. All right, so this one already existed, so I could just write it. So this is the one I want to have.
And now you're not linking to another Lexeme, you're linking to a form of it, right?
Yes, so this is actually linked to further down on this same page.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to add another one, and we're going to take demonstrate sense. Now I want to add this link. So I'm actually adding this in here. Oh, and it also finds it. That's nice. Oh, and this one didn't load English before, but I guess if I reload the page now, since I added it, it will come up. So here we have the demonstrates form and demonstrates sense. So this one is now done. We'll add a reference. And here it's not much new, but I'm going to use stated in. And now we're going to be even more nifty. We're going to actually, because this one has an item in Wikidata. So I'm just quickly going to switch to another thing here and search for it. And there it is. No, that was a written question. That was wrong. It's the motion. we want. Motion by v1 person.
Yeah, that one.
So this is the one we want. I'll copy. And this little thing here is also something you made. Otherwise, you can just double click it here and Control C.
Yeah.
So it's stated in this motion. And I'll add retrieve date today. And I guess that's actually all we need here, because this have full metadata on it.
Right.
Yeah. So publish on that one.
And this is how it's modeled. For me, that's a beginner. That it's stated in, even if it's used the usage example.
Well, I guess this is because this item is already in here.
Right. No, but I'm wondering because, I mean, the item doesn't state that this is an example, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true.
that might be a bit, because stated in, we use it slightly differently on items.
Yep. Yes. And if anyone disagrees with me in the chat, please let us know.
No, I've seen this in different places, but I think it's it's slightly different. So I think it needs to be pointed out.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this doesn't have an English label, so we don't see anything nice there. Let's try to reload here and see if this one shows up when I added it. So I'll hit refresh here. Yes, there we got it. So nicely added. And now you can just edit along here. It's a little bit tricky sometimes to know what goes where. So pronunciation, for example, we try to add that on the forms, of course, because this is pronounced differently than this, because there's different letters. So we don't put it on the top, we put it on each of the forms. And to try to figure this out, we have a very nice help page, which I think is Wikidata lexicographical data. And now I probably go to the item, of course. But whoop. Chasing the UI is always also nice. So this page is where you find all the nice things. So under documentation here, we have a few very good things to know. And this image here, I return to a lot because it sort of already looks a little bit like what we just saw. We have this, the top is called lemma here. Oh, and here we have also, Nicholas says, shortcut, WD:LD.
Nice.
And not semicolon, end parenthesis. That's just a smiley. No, but what we see here is, since we have some examples underneath, we can also see how will we model this. What things goes on the forms, what things goes on the senses, and what goes on the statements, which is very nice, especially when you're just starting out. Yes, but for me, who am not very skilled in linguistics, trying to create a new lexeme from scratch, which you can do from, we have a link in here. This make me a little bit confused, since I'm not very good in like lemma, language of lexeme, lexical category. So I don't usually use this interface. Instead, I use a tool, which I'm going to show you the link to here, which I like a lot, and it's called Lexine Forms. And how can I now copy that one to here? Oh, we're just going to go here. There we have it. And I believe we have shown this before.
Yeah.
And what it does is, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see, for each language, some volunteers here have, or editors on Wikidata, have helped setting up forms that guide you in creating these. And there's a lot of them, and this is continuously being developed as well. So if you checked in here half a year ago or some while ago, go back and check and see if there's something new. I can see here in Swedish we have, for our two different gendered nouns, we have verbs and adjectives. So I'm going to try to add a new noun through this form. I'm starting out by the form. And what I did I find one here already? Yes. So I'm going to add the Lexime for Swedish word for climate friendly. And in Swedish, we have this habit of actually combining two other words. So it's literally climate and friendly put together in one word. And I'm actually started out here looking for it in the Parliament, so I know that I can probably find an example. I'm just going to do a search here to see if I have a better sentence. That's quite a long one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, well, we could actually go with it. No, that's not a good one. Well, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go back and search again. See if we can get any better examples.
Can you write your own and somehow state that you're good enough to do an example?
You could possibly do that. But I think if we have a reference like a real world, it's better because then you can also go into context.
Right.
Usually. Now I also realize this is an adjective, not a noun, which I was looking for. So I'm going to change my, and I don't know where I'm going to go for. Maybe I just, do we have this? Let's see. We didn't.
Oh.
Good. So we can start with that. Where were I? Here. So we go into here. And this is also a large document. And then we'll try to find it again, a nice little sentence. So the word I found was environment car, which is, I believe it's a legal concept even in Swedish.
Yeah.
And we also say here, my say no original research, which is sort of, I guess. Yes, that's a good point. I'm not sure if it's really a research just talking and writing. But yeah, there would
be a lot of things in Wikidata where that would be on the border.
Yep. Let me see here if I can find a nice little sentence. Oh, that's a very good example. All right, so let's get back to the Lexime here. I'm not good in linguistics, but after doing this, I actually learned which one of these I'm going to use. So this is, and of course you have to authorize it. And as you see here, you get the grammatical features is on top. But as I said, I'm not a linguist, so that doesn't help me a lot. What helps me is there's actually a sentence where I can put this in. Now it's even better because in this example, it's actually a car in the example text. So I'm just going to stick the environment in front of it, and we'll be done very soon. Oh, and you saw also here very nicely that it will warn you if there's already something in.
Nice.
So, and if you still want to edit it or change it, you can go to the advanced, or there's an edit mode also in the top. But this is a new one. And I didn't get a warning, so I know it's not in there. Oop. And then I'll just go, and this is definite form, so we'll add that. And then we'll have a plural indefinite.
This gives me flashback to school.
It sure does. It sure does. And I'm lucky because this is not very complicated in Swedish. We have 8 forms, and it's rarely you need to stop and think. It's most often it's very easy. So I can click create here, and we're going to see the magic happen. Because the nifty thing with this tool then was that it added a few things here in top, the common gender, the noun, Swedish in the right places. And we'll see here all the forms that we just added with all the grammatical features as well. So this is a good start, but of course it doesn't really state what this means yet. So someone coming along might not understand it. Now, since we have the forms, you might... I don't think in Swedish we have any way to mix this up with something else, but I guess there might be words where you can. So the most important thing now is to add a sense, so that someone else can understand what did I intend this lexeme to be. And I'm going to start to add that in Swedish, and I'm going to say, no, I'm going to write in Swedish and speak in English. That was hard. And something like a car that is classified as environmentally friendly.
And this, I imagine, could have 2 senses, right?
Yeah, what would the other one be?
So this could be like it's classed as the legal concept.
Yeah.
But there is also the concept that the car is environmental friendly, and it's slightly different.
It might be, yes.
So one is a legal concept, the other one is what we usually mean.
Yeah. I'm not really sure if they differ, though, in language.
No, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it probably could.
But so I imagine there are a couple of cases where we can add multiple senses here. There are
Yes.
not a ton of them in Swedish, but
no, but
still a lot.
There are many. And if you go to, like, if you just take the environment, that can mean a lot of things.
Yes, indeed.
And that's true, I guess, for many languages. And then you also come with the things where you can have something that is, well, we use this as something in slang or like a vulgar expression.
Yeah,
might be something. So, and that's also where you can add it, or even in yeah.
Yeah, can you state here that it's like an informal usage or the formal usage as well?
You could, yes.
Right.
And I will actually do that in my example,
right,
later, because that's formal language from the parliament. I would say that's about as formal as we get. And now I want to connect this one to Wikidata statement, if we have one, using the item for this sense. And we have a suggestion in the chat here.
Indeed.
It could be that one. So I'll just try to write that and see what comes up, and we hope we're not getting trolled. That was something different. Yes, so that's the compound. Yes, so this is a compound word. Yes, so I'm going to add that later on. Let's see if we do have. Oh, we have many. So let's see if this is the thing that I want. Yes. So this is the one that I want to connect. That was the second one. You should improve that item also in due time. And I'll press publish here. And now it's immediately a lot better because now it's also like machine that can understand this.
Yeah, and I even just for me, for example, we have some requests for French words, and I happens to have gonna take a look at one later to connect it to Swedish one, and that French word do not have a sense, so I'm not 100% sure it's the right one.
Yes,
but it's spelled the same way and everything, so I have to guess.
Yep. So I'm just going to do a quick little edit here before we move on, because we got this suggestion that we should use, and this is also very common in Swedish. We have this terrible but also fantastic, amazing that we can combine words and make new ones, and of course over time it becomes mainstream, and this one has already been there, so we'll add that this is first of environment, Swedish noun, and here we can go quite long, so I'm going to say this is the first part, which helps a machine trying to construct this know what's what, and then we want to derive from form. So, and this one, I'll open this up just to see it, and it's the first form that we'll take. I'll just copy this, and I can also see it's yes. So it's not this sense though, because this sense is something else. Now I'll have to shoot J. All right. So I'll add a new sense to this later on. But derived from form. So this is the form F1 there. And I cannot add derived from sense because I need to go create it first. So I'll have to come back to that later. But I'll publish this, and then I'll take the second half. No, not the reference. Add a value, and you see here I get a warning because if it combines something, it needs to be more than one. And we want the Swedish noun. I'll open this up in another tab also to know. So add qualifier, series ordinal. This is the second one. Demonstrates form. And it's this one. And now I'm gonna choose yes, and this is the sense we want. So here we can actually add it. So F1. Derived from sense. The same, but S1. And I need to go back and add that the derived from sense over here later.
Nice.
If it's the word, I think there is a sense now. Oh, no, that's the one
I
you
think
were
it's
talking.
a reference to
to
my word.
Yes.
I don't think there is a sense. I just reloaded it to double check.
All right. So there's something else.
It would be super interesting to see what you guessed for, Nicholas.
Yeah. So here we can see the combines thing, and then we have all these. We have homonym, we have homographs, and all kinds of things. So you can go very deep into one word. My sort of strategy for now is that we're missing so much. I'm trying to add like this. This is sort of what we could say in Wikipedia would be a stub. We have all the basics. Anyone can come here and see this, what this means, what it's meant to be, that it's notable. I guess we could also add a link to, well, especially after we have a usage example, which is from a formal source. That would be even better. But then you could go nuts and add a lot of things. And I guess you will show us a little bit of that.
I won't go nuts, but I will go deep.
So all right. Yes.
Because I happens to be slightly interested in words, and especially where they come from. For for example, between Swedish and Norwegian, it's always interesting to see what words origins from like Old Norse, what originates from German, and so on, and how they differ, because I speak both of them. So that is always a joy for me. And we happens, let me scroll here in the chat.
Yes.
We happens to have the UN French Language Day, and I know that because I made a calendar last week.
Yes.
And why my French is non-existent, I actually happens to, one of my favorite words in Swedish happens to be derived from a French word.
Yeah.
So I thought we would go deep in that way today.
Yeah.
To have a look on how that's done, to model that.
And we can just say that Swedish, we have been influenced over the centuries a lot from Europe. First, I guess, from the Old Norse, when the entire Nordics, and then a lot from Germany, and then later on from the French, because we imported a French family to be our king, and that was a period in time where we were heavily influenced. So we have different time periods where we and nowadays we borrow a lot of English.
Yes. So this happens to be my word.
Oh, that's a good word.
This is a great one. I personally use it for. It differs a little bit what people use it for. I use it for little odd useful thing.
That would be your sense.
That would be my personal sense. I might add a more generic sense to this one.
Or both.
Yeah, but maybe mine is not. I'm not sure if mine.
I didn't disagree with you.
Yeah,
I would, like that is definitely a sense for it.
Right. And now I click that, but I'm gonna actually start by adding a sense, and I'm just gonna add a Swedish one for now. I would say thing. No, now I'm gonna do it so. A thing or
Now you're also having the mixing Swedish and English when you're talking, right?
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, you write or.
Oh, true. Okay.
It's very hard.
Thing or two.
Apparatus.
Exactly, apparatus. Maybe that's it, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
I think that's a pretty good sense for it. And now we're gonna see. So it's derived from a French word here, which do not have a sense. So I'm guessing it's the one. I think it's used for at least two things in French. But the lexeme is at least derived from this lexeme. So I can actually add this on this level here by saying derived from, and it should be this one. So most directly seems this one has developed from. So I should be able to copy the L number here and just add it there. Right. So not editing a French lexeme, but I'm linking to it, and it complains here because I do not have a source. I am going to add that later on. But for now, I actually want to. This, for me, this modeling is very interesting because it means we can actually have a look at this type of information in the query service. So I think we're going to head over there.
Oh, nice.
And I'm particularly interested actually in Old Norse here because I used, when I played around a little with it, tried to learn the modeling here. I was just happily surprised by there being quite a bit of Old Norse words in there.
Already? All right.
Yeah. So just as a small note before I begin, there is actually in the example, there is an entire section dedicated to Lexemes. So that for me was a great way to get started. I think we're actually gonna pick one Gonna pick this one, let's say. It gives a bit of a hint about the modeling. Most importantly, and you don't see this often actually when we query items, because they only have one RDF type. But in SparkQL, when you query for an RDF type, which is like not the instance of type, but the type on the data level, so to say, we can actually use an A to say RDFS type. And it happens to have a type from a vocabulary, an external vocabulary, which is, for me as someone spending a lot of time with SparkQL and linked open data, it looks great. So that's the Lexeme. We're saying, hey, I only want Lexemes. We can define the language, and we can actually pick the lemma, which contains that actual textual information. So we can't use the Lexeme here and just say label to it, because it has a slightly different model.
Yep.
But let's see if we can modify this. I'm actually going to type out Lexeme here to make it a little easier for myself. Okay, we want Lexeme. I want it to be of a particular language, and the language happens to be a Wikidata item. I'm just going to type Old Norse. There are a couple of different Old Norse languages, but this one is the most used one, the generic one. I want for that Lexemes to pick the lemma, because I want the actual text. Next up, I really want to see words that are derived from the Old Norse words. So I'm thinking we will select all words that are derived from an Old Norse word. A lot of words here. I think we, however, can run this as it is. Let's see. To just get, that one doesn't exist, to just get Old Norse.
Yeah, that would give us all of them.
So give me only Lexemes. DC terms language should set to Old Norse. Again, we're using in vocabulary. It's not that usual in the rest of Wikidata, or at least we don't query for it. It's usually there, actually. Then a Wikibase lemma, because we need that. Let's see. 261 words. A bunch of them. I can't say I recognize a lot of them. I can see some of them are same as a Swedish word, but I don't necessarily know that they are the same. But now we want words derived from theirs. So we want to pick a Lexeme. I'm gonna call this modern. I assume it's more modern if it's derived from Old Norse. And I don't even think I need that. I just need to say VDT derived from Lexeme, and here should be able to point directly to the Lexeme above. And it doesn't want to autocomplete me. Right, and again here I want to see the lemma, because I want that textual information. So I'm gonna pick the modern Lexeme and ask for its lemma. Right, I'm gonna call this lemma modern to follow the same pattern. And let's see. Lexeme modern, lemma modern. Let's see what we get. We should get 2 more columns. Yeah, so quite a lot of those, or some of them might be from the same Old Norse, I imagine. We can see an Old Norse lemma. We can see the modern one. I don't see the language here. We're gonna do that next. I think this is New Norwegian. Maybe Bookmall or New Norwegian as well. We will soon know. Because for this modern ones, so all the old ones, we know that they are all Norse. But here I actually want to pick up the language as well. And it's DCT for DC terms and language. Nicely auto-completed. And language. However, this language here, it's again pointing to Wikidata item. Similar to up here. So here we can actually use that label trick that we are very used to. So that should give us another column saying the language of that. Yes, so as Nicholas points out, because this is very, very well modern in my opinion from an RDF perspective, you can hover this like this and see that it says NN, New Norwegian, Nynorsk. So you can actually do that, and I think it works here as well. Yes, so we can still see that it stands for Old Norse, but it's a little more prominent like this. We can actually see that there is a lot of New Norwegian here. We see Danish pop up as well. Let's see if we find something Swedish. It's a little because I happens to write the Orchard Norwegian language, the Bokmål one. Here we got some old Swedish. That's interesting. A lot of New Norwegian. Danish. Still new Bokmål or Swedish. Here we got a Swedish one. So the Swedish one for coal, I imagine.
Yep.
That's
the same.
Yes, exactly. I imagine it's. Let's see if it has a sense.
I might have been there.
This looks like something you could have been in. Right, so it's about carbon. Derived from, right, the Old Norse one. I imagine if the English one is derived from Old Norse, so it's quite common that the Vikings broke the words from Scandinavia. Because it's rather similar, even if it's spelled differently. Let's hope that there is a Swedish Lexime in here that Jan hasn't already edited a lot of.
There's plenty of them.
Right, this one. So in English, this would be resin, I believe.
Yep. What you get from the trees.
As we get from the trees. Oh, this happens to be a great one.
Empty.
Because it's empty. Right. So let's add a sense. SV, right? Because my interface is in English. Okay, so Swedish one for koda or resin. Let's see. Protectives. Matter from trees.
Yeah.
So, something in
Might
those
even
lines.
say fluid.
Right. Something like that, but in Swedish.
Skyddande vätska från träd.
That's very good. Actually, it's not necessarily only trees. I'm gonna.
Yes, from plants.
Yes, from plants. And we should be able to have an item for this as well.
Well, not there.
So is this here?
You'll have to say first.
Publish. And let's see. Statements about the sense, right? S1. That's very helpful that they are lettered by the type.
Yeah. And I'm gonna dig for my script there. Use the script. that auto-completes or gives you suggestions.
Right. Item for distance. Actually, for me, the easiest way to find that will be to go to the Swedish Wikipedia article. Assuming there is a Wikipedia article. Yes, there is.
There is one.
Gonna copy the QID.
Oh, that's empty as well. We have work to do.
And that's already a much better item in my opinion. Even if it doesn't have forms, I'm as a beginner always think that the sense is very much necessary. Item for the sense.
And here's the one that I'm using.
Yes. I'm gonna leave it like that. The forms for me aren't obvious here. Or actually, I should be able to... No, it's already in the category. Here we got one in Bokmål, the Watcher Norwegian languages. We have seen a lot of new Norwegian. Oh, it doesn't have a sense. I would guess this is a type of container for fluids, but I would need to look at the tab, so I'm gonna keep it in a tab here for later actually. But move on, as it's not my native language. I would like to double check that if I would go ahead. Oh, here's an interesting one. Here is an Old Norse word derived from another Old Norse word. So we can kind of see this change within the language.
Yes. And of course, that happens even in modern languages. We have words that take on a new shape.
Okay, here is at least a Norwegian word in Bokmål that I feel confident in editing because it's water. And therefore it is already edited as well. Oh, so this is West Germanic languages none as well as. That's an interesting one. Word stem. Do we have senses? We have an image here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Item for the sense, liquid water. We even got two forms, right? Okay, I'm gonna move on in my list here and hope for there being more ones in Bokmål and Swedish. Why did I learn that Norwegian and not the Watcher one?
Oh, we have the Swedish water as well.
Yeah, we got the Swedish water as well. Let's see. I imagine that is quite edited as well. Got some Danish, Icelandic. This would be very interesting to see for Icelandic because they usually, when they come up with new modern words, they usually take a look at old words in Old Norse and Old Icelandic to protect their language. So they reuse words. Right, this is derived from the same one as the Norwegian one, which is interesting. It's derived from the same words, but still rather different. Translation. Oh, here's a translation pointing to oh, interesting. That you can do that with translations. That's new for me. Oh no, all of them are pointing. It just looks different. Huh. Item for this sense is water. This is interesting. The Norwegian one is actually liquid water. Here we just say water.
Yeah, that's the second one. So the first one was also liquid water. So we have 3 senses here.
Oh, yeah, true. That's the liquid water. Okay. This is right. And this is water, and this is body of water. Actually, exactly same as it should be in Bokmål then. Icelandic. Oh, here's interesting because the words stay exactly the same in Icelandic. And I'm pretty sure this is water as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's even derived from the exactly same words. Oh, but they only got 1 sense. Again, Icelandic is not in my primarily vocabulary. There's a lot to improve here. Actually, something I would probably do in the future, as I find this very intriguing, there being Old Norse, is to add examples. So there are quite a bit of resources that are CC0 of examples of Old Norse. However, they tend to be in different type of alphabets. So we have transliterations and then the rune inscriptions essentially, and so on. So I'm not sure how we would deal with that, but that seems like a very interesting project for someone. Let's see. Now we're gonna double check. Did someone go ahead and add a sense for this? Yes. Thank you, whoever did it.
So let's see. I got a new question here. Also, to paste the link. So I'll try to put it in the chat for all of you. I hope this comes through. So this will be clickable in your...
And that very much reminds me that I should share the link to the query.
Yes.
For everyone's own entertainment. And whoever edited the French Lexime, thank you very much. I am gonna translate that French sense into something I understand to learn if I did it correctly. And this is the link to the query that should be on your screen. It's Old Norse for now, but I imagine that you can switch it out to something else. Let's actually do that. Let's see if there are words derived from Swedish. So we can just switch this to Swedish. And let's see what we get. 22. Here, as Swedish is an active language, we see that Jan mentioned before, that the language develops, and we see that most of them appears to be Swedish. Also, quite a popular. You might have edited this one. Can we guess that? The Flygskam.
I don't think I did, actually.
You don't think you did?
No,
let's see.
Especially not in German.
Right. Let's take a look at the Swedish one. Oh, it seems to have a lot anyway. Yeah. This combines. Does it? The combines one? Yeah, it has the combines one. Aircraft and shame. That's an interesting. I actually saw that in the news that it has became a German word as well. I did not know that it had also ended up being a Dutch word. We got the famous ombudsman one.
And the smorgasbord.
Right.
Which is 3 words in English. So that was a tricky one to do.
Oh, indeed.
So you can take a look at how that looks.
Oh, that's interesting, because this one is 1 word. I would say that this is combined by 2 words, but the first word is combined by 2 words as well.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's done yet for Ombudsman, but if you check the smorgasbord, it is.
Right. I'm gonna double check. No, this one, yeah, it combines. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is this one done?
And I wonder if this is combined
it
as.
has things to do there.
Oh well. Proxy, right? Oh. Because I in Swedish would say that this is also a combined one.
I agree.
So we will get this. That would be interesting. I think we got this family tree visualizations for Wikidata. We could actually do that with words. It would be very interesting.
Yes. The smorgasbord is modeled like that already.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes. The Swedish one.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah, true. It must be a combined word as well. As a Swede, I don't really see it always when it's a combined one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is the first. It's sandwich, and this is table. And I imagine this one will be another combined one.
Yep. In the top.
There
you have it.
Right. Yes. Of butter and
butter.
Yeast.
No, it's actually an old word for butter.
Oh, so it's butter combined with butter.
Yes.
That makes sense because the bird did not make sense.
No. But it's strange. The Swedish word for sandwich is actually butter.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I see. We got 2 senses here. We got the bird.
Yeah.
And then we got a piece of butter.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very interesting. We see a lot of Swedish ones. This one is an odd one. Ingerman. Okay. Here we got something that looks the same. Yeah, but it gives an idea. I think this is super interesting. And I will likely go back to 2 things as a bit of a first-time editor of Lexemes. I might have tried it out. Would be really cool to add examples to the Old Norse, I believe. And I would also like to do that type of family tree visualizations, both for words that are combined, but as well about, like, I think we can actually do that type of visualizations for words that are derived from other languages. So I might get back to that at one point. Yeah,
I think that would be a very nice one to see how it changes over time and what gets inspired from what.
Yeah. So first time editing Lexemes for real, but I think I'm gonna get back to it.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a little bit addictive. Almost, but because
the rest of Wikidata isn't.
No, it's yes, but as you said, it sometimes feels like you're back to school. There are things that you really know, so to say. Yeah. So it's very soothing editing, even.
Yeah, I think
sometimes in Wikidata you need to think too much.
Yeah. I think I would very much, if I go back, I would more go on the deep, like continuing this type of stuff rather than adding all the forms. It's great if we did that, but there's already a tool for the visualization.
So
that's great. It usually that's quite common in the Wikimedia space that you think of a tool, then you search and find it.
Yeah, great find. Thanks, Daniel.
We will try that out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and of course the 30 Lexic-o-days continues until the 14th of April, so there will be plenty of events happening. I imagine that we might come back to this. We haven't really picked our theme for our next session yet. Or did we?
Is it the Earth Hour? Is it 1 week
Yes,
away?
yes. Next week
Yes,
is
exactly.
Earth Hour, so we're gonna turn off our lights and try to edit in the dark.
Yeah, because I think we are editing during the actual
Yes.
Earth hour as well.
Yes,
So it will be
so
dark here.
Yeah, I can edit in the light, and then we'll switch to you, and you'll turn the lights off.
Right.
Or we might be dark from the beginning. We'll see.
We might be dark and have our screens.
Yes, glow in our faces.
It might look a little scary.
Yeah, it will be the hacker stereotype.
Right. And I imagine we will edit things about climate change as well.
Yes, that seems to be quite on the theme.
Right.
And with that, we say thank you for everyone who joined and gave us tips and asked questions. Happy editing.
Happy editing. See you.